was Jesus?
We don't know.
A man or a god?
Or some combo.
They came up with a series of theories and tracts and disputations to settle their queries. Some are weird and some are great, but just for you, here's the most important 8. Because it's confusing no matter how hard you think. We'll compare each theory to a kind of mixed drink.
Yeah, a whole bunch of the early ecumenical councils tried to officially decree what Jesus was. Interesting. What should we start
One
with?
thing, two things. Monophysitism. Monophysites believed at the Immaculate Conception he was one single nature in his earliest inception. Mono meaning one. This one's pretty clear. Monophysites thought that Christ was akin to beer.
Monophysitism. They said he was just one unified thing and that thing was divine. This one came up at the First Council of Nicaea in 325.
Beer.
What's next?
Miaphysitism. Miaphysites said Christ was human and divine, all intermixed and compounded and combined. God and man together in symphonic. The Miaphysite Christ was like gin and tonic.
Miaphysitism. He was a fully intermixed man and God in one being.
Seems uncontroversial.
Not at the Council of Chalcedon in 451.
Eutychianism. Eutychians taught that Christ was king. He was God and man turned into a third thing. If he were a drink, Eutychians surmised he'd be a rum and coke turned Jesus Christ.
Eutychianism, the doctrine that the human and divine natures of Christ combined to form something else, led to the split with the Oriental Orthodox churches.
Diophysitism. Diophysites thought that Jesus, in one man affixed, was two separate natures, themselves never mixed. Di meaning two, Diophysite Christ means he's like an olive floating in a dry martini.
Diophysitism, two natures perfectly distinct from one. They gave this a thumbs up at Chalcedon in 451, and it's standard today in most churches.
Nestorianism. Nestorians were similar, so listen up close. They taught two separate natures, differently composed. One of them human, one in divine ascension, like a martini and olive, but in different dimensions.
Nestorianism, a transdimensional olive and martini held together by divine will. Condemned in the 5th century. Wonder why.
Docetism. Docetism is different. The Docetist entourage taught that the human Jesus was only a mirage, that he was purely divine and his form just a confusion, like a glass of whiskey, but the glass is an illusion. Whoa, that's trippy.
Yeah, they didn't like ghost Jesus / Docetism. That's why it was rejected at First Nicaea in 325.
Arianism. Arianism was hastily outlawed. It taught that Jesus was not the same as God, that he came along later. Joining Dad was the view, like a coffee made Irish only halfway through.
Arianism. Jesus and God are not co-eternal and co-equal, declared heretical at Nicaea in 325. Kept coming back, though.
Adoptionism. Adoptionism, sometimes called monarchism, followed the same path as Arianism, taught that Jesus was adopted, made divine and forgiven, like a certain humble logger that won a blue ribbon.
Adoptionism. Some human guy was made into the Son of God. Sounds a little iffy.
Hey, let's sing the end. These 8 schools they cut and spliced, ways to fathom Jesus Christ. They argued, wrote, and all explored the different ways that he was Lord.